Hello, my dear 8th class students. Today we are going to start 10th chapter, Landlords and Tenants under the British and the Nizam. Landlords, the people who have the thousands and hundreds acres of the land, are called landlords, and tenants under the British and the Nizams. Tenants, the people who are taken land for lease, tenants under the British and Nizam. So this was the title of lesson which we are going to discuss. Zamindars and peasants in Mughal times. See, during the Mughal times, Mughal emperors were not collected any tax by the peasants, by the farmers. Here the taxes are collected very demandably and very crucially. Taxes are collected by the zamindars, the people already who has thousands of the acres of land and who are given that land for the tenancy, for rent, and which farmers are cultivating these crops. After the cultivation of their crops, they are demanded to give the taxes to the zamindars. So zamindars are acted instead of emperors here as rulers of the regions. And the forts, the houses of the zamindars at that time are called in Telangana gadis. What are called gadis? The houses of the zamindars are called gadis. That you have to remember. During the time of the Mughal emperors, the zamindars collected land revenue from the peasants on the behalf of the emperor. In the return, they received a share of the revenue collected and sometimes also had the right to collect some small local taxes. They also had a small band of soldiers with the horses and guns. Their houses were like small forts called gadis in Telangana. This enabled them to control the nearby villages as revenue collectors. The zamindars often acted as the intermediaries between the government and the peasants. They often represented the problems faced by the peasants to the government, and at the same time also tried to enforce the regulations imposed on the peasants by the government. So this was the situation at that time where the landlords and tenants are under the British and Nizam. How the peasants recovered with the enforcement of the taxation which was collected by the zamindars and under the share of emperors also. The zamindars also owned lands on which the laborers worked. This was called their cultivated land or the khudkhast lands. See, commonly which land is not belonging to the zamindars also. So on that lands where the common people who are cultivating that land laborers who are cultivating that land, who are producing that land, on such lands also here zamindars are collected taxation. Zamindars are imposed taxation here. Laborers worked. This was called their self-cultivated land or khudkhast land, which means their own land. So which land is not belonging to them, to that lands also where the landless workers are working or getting wages, or by nearby such people also they collected taxation, and they said that to that people, this is khudkhast land. This land is ours. This land is belonging to us. So that they said. They also gave their land to the peasants to cultivate in the exchange for either a share of the produce or for a fixed rent. We call such landowners as the landlords, and the peasants who cultivate their lands as the tenant cultivators. Thus, the zamindars had two important roles: collection of land and revenue from the ordinary peasants, and owning lands as the landlords. There were two kinds of the peasants: those who were independent landowning cultivators paying land revenue through the zamindars, and those who were tenants of the landlords. Indian towns and villages had a large number of highly skilled artisans such as the weavers, dyers, masons, metalsmiths and carpenters. They were engaged in the crafts production and services to support the agricultural activities. In addition, there were workers providing the personal and the community services like washer folk, basket markets, barbers, butchers, shepherds, and cattle and herders, and of the coarse agriculture workers. These artisans and service providers often belonged to the backward and low castes. Some of them had small plots of land, but mainly got their livelihoods from the providing services to the farmers and landlords. So which means what was happened here situation, the different kinds of the people who are coming in the different categories like carpenters, weavers and cultivators, and the different categorized people who are working and who are rendering services in the different activities. So these are all the people who are working in the different sectors. Such people also who are owned some of the land, in their land they are cultivating crops. Meanwhile also there were the taxations are imposed and cruciality, the sharecrops. Like suppose either the farmers the peasants who are producing lands, who are cultivating land, they provide some of the share or otherwise demandable rent, demandable sharecrop or demandable taxation, so that they have to pay. So what tax will be asked by the zamindars, the tax they have to pay, others otherwise they have to give the half of amount of the crop what they were produced. So these are the demands were imposed on the farmers at that time. So there are the several different categorized people who has to work under the landlords only. So they are the service providers of the landlords. Zamindars service providers, like the people, artisans, service providers often belonged to the backward and low castes only. So service providers and the artisans, freely they were working near the zamindars as their slaves. They were worked as their slaves. So that was the conditions they were fed. So how the situations are came under the control, how the situations are made, then that we can see in the continuation. The permanent settlement changed introduced by the British. When the British gained control over India, they were keen to increase the land revenue as much as possible to the finance their trade and wars. This led to the ruining of the agriculture, as the farmers could not cultivate land under such conditions. There were great famines which killed millions of people. The British realized that they needed to have a system of land and revenue which would also encourage agriculture. They were also keen that peasants should steal more and more land and grow crops that were in the demand in the market, especially cash crops that could be exported to England like cotton, indigo, sugarcane, wheat, etc. East India Company officials began to feel that investment in land had to be encouraged and agriculture had to be improved. How was this to be done? So which means when the British government taken complete control over the India, at that time they decided that where the famines are increased, which means there is no food availability is located in our country. So they observed that situations, based on these situations, they brought some drastic changes. Either they collect revenue or the taxation or the demanded sharecrop. So that they brought some control on the peasants. This was become enabled here little bit, but also the farmers are under suffrage only. After 2 decades of the debate of the question, the company finally introduced the permanent settlement in 1793 when the Cornwallis was the Governor General. When the Cornwallis was the Governor General in 1793, the Cornwallis was gave some of the inventions like under the collection of the taxation and revenue. According the terms of the settlements, zamindars were given the powers to collect the revenue agreed upon in the auction. Therefore, it was also called zamindari settlements. They have to pass on 90% of the amount to the government, retaining 10% as collection charges. The amount to be paid was fixed permanently, that is, it was not to be increased in the future. It was felt that this would be ensure a regular flow of revenue into the company and at the same time encourage the zamindars to invest in the improving the land. Since the revenue demand of the state would not be increased, the zamindars would benefit from the increased production from the land. The zamindars, however, collect more revenue than the agreed upon to the auction. They continuously increased the revenue and changed the cultivation who did not meet the demand. This settlement inadvertently converted all the peasants into the tenants, and the zamindars collected rent rather than revenue from them, and since the rent collected was much higher than the revenue, the cultivators could not pay the entire amount and sometimes the deserted the land in the long run. The zamindars also suffered and became defaulters. So the system which was brought in 1793 by the Cornwallis, meanwhile the ruler of the British India is Cornwallis in the 1793 when they were controlled India under their hands. So meanwhile the revenue, so what he was see hereafter, after in 1973 the decision was taken, hereafter the tax will be collected by the zamindars on auction. So which means on auction only. So what auction was announced based on auction. So zamindars who comes to the lease, so that will be given from the 10% to the Cornwallis. So during that time's rulers. So this was made a drastic change and massive loss, and some of the agricultural lands are converted as the deserts. So these are the harder situations they have faced at that time. So after that, what was happened, the results we will continue in the next session of the online class. Thank you.